Can you legally per NEC share neutrals on a 120-volt circuit where there are multiple circuits in one area, for outlets? And if yes, how many circuits can share the neutral?
Hi, in residential with a single-phase service you are permitted to share a neutral with two 120-volt circuits. The two circuits can be near each other, even in the same box, or far apart. There is no stipulation as to how close or far apart the two circuits sharing the neutral can be. There are other issues to consider though, unless this is just a general knowledge question. For example, if the two circuits are going to the same receptacle, the receptacle would have to be rated for 20A, if it were a 20 circuit, and you would also be required to use a double pole 20A breaker to make sure that power would be turned off to both circuits simultaneously. Another issue that you must consider: if these circuits are supplying separate outlets, the circuits would need to be terminated on breakers on different phases. Although residential is really single phase / technically split phase / we refer to each leg as a separate phase, so that the neutral is not overloaded. Regards, Mike.
This is an industrial environment, 120-208. Multiple circuits in the same room, office or shop. All on GFI breakers. The spec is that each circuit must have its own neutral because it's on a GFI breaker. What if they were regular breakers?
There is no requirement for GFI circuits to have their own neutral conductor. In fact, they make double-pole GFI breakers specifically for this purpose. If the spec sheet calls for it, then you are required to, because that's what the engineers signed off on, but you're not required to per NEC. There is no universal answer to the number of neutrals you can share. The botched 6 is, the neutral must be sized according the load to be served. In residential, standard receptacles and lighting circuits are all 20A, so that's why you can share a neutral between two circuits and now more. If you had a 20A load on two circuits, each connected to a different phase, the load on the neutral would be 0A. They cancel each other out. If you had 20A on only one of the circuits, the load on the neutral would be 20A as well. If you had 20A on one circuit, and 10A on the other, the neutral would carry 10A. As you can see, the neutral could never carry more than 20A in this scenario. If you add a third circuit and say you had 20A and 15A on phase, and 10A on phase, you would have 20 plus 15 to 10 equals 25A on the neutral. This would overload the neutral. That's why you can't have more than two circuits sharing a neutral. This same theory must be applied anywhere. There are no rules for how many circuits can share a neutral. It depends on each specific situation. A similar theory applies in three-phase loads. The phase currents tend to cancel out one another, summing to 0 in the case of a linear balanced load. This makes it possible to eliminate or reduce the size of the neutral conductor. All the phase conductors carry the same current and so can be the same size, for a balanced load. So you could share a neutral with three circuits, because on a three-phase load, the maximum current on the neutral could be no more than the current on any one of the phase conductors. But this is still more complicated. Some circuits introduce harmonics into the circuit. Harmonics is an entirely different conversation.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/YTHI.